So there's an Ultra on the horizon, and it might not drop during the reveal tomorrow, Legends information, but regarding the next Ultra, it's going to be something. But contrary to your beliefs right now, the question today isn't what that Ultra is. It's simply the fact I want to talk about Ultra Cell. This is a unit that is definitely going to come out one day in Dragon Ball Legends. Hopefully sooner than later, but we know he's going to drop eventually. But I feel if they do drop him, I want them to execute his release with perfection. Literally like his name, Perfect Cell. So unlike other videos, it might be laid out with a plan and everything like that, but I literally just want to explain this idea that I got. If you guys don't know, my favorite Dragon Ball antagonist is Cell. And just to give you a quick overview on why he's my favorite antagonist, 1, he's Perfect Cell. The guy that stood there and let them train, waited for them to come back and threw hands and was still more powerful than all of them, GOAT. Number 2, I would go as far to say that he's the best written antagonist in the whole franchise. I haven't read the manga, so if you want to bring up some of those guys, that's cool. So they're not included in my opinion. But regarding Cell, the reason why he's so great is because all of his pros are taken from everything that he's consumed, because he's built up of multiple things, obviously referring to his DNA. And his downfall also comes as a factor of him embodying what those people that he despises have. Mainly we see the Saiyan traits where he has a bunch of arrogance and pride. We saw what happened to Super Vegeta, where he felt he was so strong that he could let Cell power up, and then we later saw Cell embody that with the creation of the Cell games, and with the exact way that everything was carried out, it led to his demise, which is pretty cool because he isn't just a living thing that decided to catch some bodies one day. He was created. So for the way he processes things, even though he's quite an intelligent life form, he's only a product of things he was invented with and things that he consumed during his lifespan. But number 3, and probably my favorite reason, he got jumped. I feel like if you're an antagonist and you get jumped, you get more points just like that. But not like any other antagonist where everything was set up for possible jumping anyways. Cell wanted all the smoke. That's why he's that guy to me. Anyways, enough glazing, enough explaining. Let me get into explaining this kit idea that I had for Ultra Perfect Cell. The dev team have already increased our expectations, and they told us that for the 7th year, this year here in 2025, they are going to make this year their biggest year. A very big year means a big deal to them, so we can expect the bar to be increased, and they've already somewhat done that. We saw with Trunks and Gohan, the animations they brought out on this unit are absolutely phenomenal, and that's just a Legends Limited. So you can imagine with other aspects of the game, things are just going to get bigger. Mechanics that we get, possible game modes, we already saw their update in the guild battles, so we should expect big things. So I was thinking, if the game is going to require more RAM as well, that means they can do a lot more spectacular things in game, in battle. They won't be limited in any way, shape or form, obviously to a degree, but for the most part, any ideas that we can put out that aren't unrealistic, they'll be able to produce. So my first thought is that a lot of Dragon Ball characters transform more than once. This is something we see throughout the whole series, Cell being the one that I wanted to talk about in this video, but we've got Goku going Super Saiyan 1, Super Saiyan 2, Super Saiyan 3. We've got Buu with his multiple forms, even Frieza has multiple forms. We could have Vegeta as well, but he hasn't had a big moment like that where he specifically transformed multiple times. So we have all these characters that are capable of doing this. But let's start with Perfect Form Cell, because I feel like a lot of characters will come under this roof, but specifically because we've been getting a bunch of future characters, Android Saga characters, even the future arc Goku Black Saga. There's been a lot of speculation for a Perfect Form Cell in Ultra Rarity. So he won't be bringing anything exactly new, but he will be able to transform more than once. So he should have 3 transformations. So of course we'll be starting as First Form Cell. As First Form Cell, it'll be his weakest variation, but he should still have a good kit because this is an Ultra we're dealing with. We can't have him be a bum, and especially at the start, he wasn't exactly a scrub, but he was having to consume a lot of people so that he could build his strength up. But of course we know from his first form, he then absorbed Android 17, which allowed him to progress into Second Form Cell. Now I feel like how he could go about this is through a transformation with his main ability. He could also have the awakened arts, but it'd have to be one of the two. I'm not going to hone in too much, but just follow me as I go along. If it's a main ability, the main ability won't be long. It should be 10 time accounts, and the reason it should be only 10 time accounts is because he's going to have multiple transformations. The first one being his first form, the second form, perfect form, and he will also have super perfect form after Goku died. So after his awakened art or his main ability. It allows him to transform into second form Cell, and with this he'll get an upgrading kit. Now I'll go into this a bit more afterwards, but just follow me along with the idea. From the second form, trying to get into perfect form, it will be the exact same thing. It's either going to be another main ability or awakened art. The kit won't be much different, but I feel like if it's an awakened art, you lose the option of getting to the next transformation. So the main ability will guarantee it. You get your 10 timer counts, or it could be 20 timer counts this time, which will amass to 30 or 20 timer counts, similar to almost any character in the game. So if you're thinking, oh, how many timer counts in the game is going to be required to transform multiple times, is that even possible? Well, if it doesn't take long and it's up to you on whether you want to transform early or not, then you'll be able to. So now that you've transformed twice and you've hit perfect form, this would be his strongest form, but the only way to get from perfect form here to super perfect form, he would have to die. Now in this, I just decided to put the comeback mechanic, and it will be just like the anime. He can just do damage like Golden Frieza, and in this Trunks will get taken out. But in this case, it will be whoever's on the battlefield will have to take damage, taking perfect form Cell with the comeback ability to super perfect form. So it would be a 2-stage transformation into the comeback mechanic, which allows him to transform for the 3rd time into his final form, which would be super perfect Cell. Very simple, but it'd be very fun. It's not exactly practical, but it's something the community would like to see. It shows that they're stretching the bounds of what they can give us in one character. We already get free-to-play characters where they just recycle these animations anyways, but if you put it into one unit, that one unit will feel a lot more worthwhile in comparison to these throwaway free-to-plays that they drop. Fair enough, this is summonable and it's not really comparable, but it's the point that they can easily put animation that already exists in the game, which I wouldn't want them to do. But even if they did and they put it into one unit that had multiple transformation stages, it would feel like the unit is more, even though it's things we've already seen. That's the main basis of the kit, but I need to touch on some elements so you know that this kit isn't gonna be a million pages long. So the first thing you're hearing is that when this unit has multiple transformation, there's gonna be multiple kits, and that's going to be insanely long. Nobody's reading that, I'm not gonna lie. Having his first form have his own page with unique abilities and the main ability, the second form having the same thing, the perfect form having the same thing, and then super perfect form having the same thing. 4 pages of every single thing that you can get in one kit for one unit, that's a lot. So to simplify it, with them upgrading the game anyways, they will have this thing where the unique abilities will be the only things changing going forward, at least for the most part. But with this also being the case, you can imagine there wouldn't be a large difference in kits going around when you transform. The animations would change and the names of the moves would change, but what they actually do shouldn't change too much. I figured the best way to do this would be an increase in damage numbers or stats in some way, shape or form. So let's say the blue card, it's going to be a Kamehameha, but the Kamehameha gets bigger and bigger as Cell goes up in transformations, and once he hits the super perfect form, he has the biggest Kamehameha he can do, so the name would change and the amount of damage he can do through that Kamehameha should also increase. But the overall unique ability, the writing on the certain moves won't change, but it would only be the numbers, and I think they should just put an information box to show that. When it comes to increasing the bar, we get things that we've never seen before. When we had the synchro mechanic, you put it in the unique ability, but it's written in such a unique way because we've never seen it before. The same with Ultra Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta's counter, and the same thing with Beast Gohan's special beam cannon. These new things would have to have a new segment of writing that makes it stand out so you can understand what's different about this move in comparison to any other mechanic that we've got. But just for simplicity, even from first form all the way to super perfect form, it will all be pretty much the same with just an increase in numbers to make the higher forms better. The main intention behind a unit like this would be so that you can have fun and love the way he looks. I think of units like Boo Bros and Gamma 1 and 2. I think the concept of the prep time gauge isn't exactly the most effective or efficient to use in PvP, especially when it's a one-time use. You put in all that effort for this one big attack, and if it doesn't take the person out, that makes it even worse. But it takes so much effort to build it up that in a lot of cases it's literally just there for the aesthetic, but it doesn't mean it's completely useless. But let's look at it for what it is. It's not one of the most outstanding mechanics we have in the game, which is why it's required a lot of these units to both get plats, Gammas 1 and 2 and Boo Bros, and Boo Bros also have a Zenkai on top of that, and they're still maybe above average at best. They don't have the optimal setup. It's really just not ideal to use them, even though you can get them in a few niche scenarios where they do stand out. But if Cell's base kit is good regardless, it wouldn't matter, and he would also get stronger as you get to the highest transformations. Let me also add that the comeback only exists in the kit once he gets to perfect form. So transforming would be a first form and a second form thing, but the comeback only activates once you get to perfect form. I think the best way to separate the benefits is that every single time that he transforms, he would get a full health bar. So having him in first form is good, but if you get nuked in one go or rising rushed, you don't get the benefit of the comeback when you're in first form or second form. But if you're low health in first form and you transform into second form, you will get the benefit of the full health bar once you're in second form, and then you also get the full benefit of the full health bar in third form. I was moving too fast there, I meant perfect form. But only when you're in perfect form do you get the benefit of comeback, which is the second life. But those health bars, depending on when you use it, can be very useful. The last thing I want to mention is his elements. Now this is just me randomly putting out one there that I think is best. It's not very random, but I'm just using my deduction. You guys can disagree with this one because it's just an idea. I'm not really putting down a kit concept, but I was really sitting here and I thought, wow, this would be cool. Anyways, I think the best element for him, I'm not gonna say it straight away. Let's work in reverse. So he shouldn't be red. I think he shouldn't be red. Red have a lot of regeneration, specifically the revival cell and the red perfect form cell. They should not follow along with the Super Saiyan 3 is always green. So let's write out red straight away. He should also not be purple. We have 2 Legends Limited purple cells. Just forget about that. So that leaves only yellow, green, and blue. I think yellows have gone too far. We don't need another one. And I think that's why a lot of people want to get a red in the game so they can get rid of these yellows. Ultra Margin Vegeta and Beast Gohan. And I also think having so many greens is a problem too, because yellow syncs very well with green, so a lot of people run both of those colors together. So I think we should avoid both of those elements, which leaves my conclusion to be blue. He could also just have multiple elements, but again, I feel like that's also doing a lot. So we're gonna stick with blue. But yeah, that's going to be my idea for a super perfect cell as an ultra. The multiple transformations will really increase the bar. I think they're able to produce this right now as we speak, but when they do go through the big update, it would run so smoothly and look so much better. It's insane. And they've already dropped this Trunks and Gohan, like I referenced at the start of the video, that looks spectacular, so I don't think it's outside of their expectations to drop something like this. Ultras are meant to be the highest rarity in the game, and they're meant to feel like it. So if you get one, especially when there's no pity system, you want to have something that looks beautiful but also performs beautifully too. We've seen that with Ultra Margin Vegeta, Beast Gohan, Ultra Vegeta Blue, Ultra Gogeta Blue, Ultra Super Gogeta, even returning with his plat. Most ultras give you a bunch of life where you feel like, yeah man, I got my Chrono Crystals worth out of this. Some don't though. Ultra Super Janemba, Ultra Broly, Ultra Super Saiyan Blue Kaioken Goku, but in his prime, he was the GOAT. But once he left, he was so useless, it's crazy. But let me know in the comment section what you think about this idea. And you can imagine they can follow out with a similar thing with all those other characters I mentioned. Goku, Boo, Frieza, just to name some. But hopefully you guys did enjoy this video. If you haven't already, make sure to press the subscribe button. We're on this grind to 200,000 subscribers. I appreciate you guys for watching, man. My name is Zakashi, guys, and I'll see you guys in the next one, man.